Shalom, first and foremost, I'm going to give all praises to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace, love, and salutation to you, the argument that's pushing this truth and true sincerity. I'm going to start off in Isaiah 55 and 10. For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth in bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the water, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. And the Most High's word doesn't return to him void. Now, what I want to get into in this lesson is based off a class that I did here in GMS Atlanta yesterday. I kind of want to put it on wax of Ezekiel the 38th chapter. All right, these prophecies, all right, they're speaking. Habakkuk the 2nd chapter. Let's get that right quick. Habakkuk 2 and 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord's name is Yahweh, and the only begotten Son, all right, the Savior of the nation of Israel, his name is Yahweh Shai. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And we're going to the Third World War. It's not going to tarry any longer. All right, excuse me for that background noise. Revelation 11 and 14. So World War III is coming upon us really quick, and we have the signs in the scriptures to let us know what time we in. All right. What does 2 Corinthians 9 says? Measure thou the time diligently. So we're seeing wars and rumors of wars play upon the earth, and also we're seeing Revelation 13, the mark of the beast, being played out. Revelation 11 and 14, the second war is past. That's referring to World War I, World War II, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So we're on the verge of World War III. And I'm gonna get into this news article right quick. This is from MSN.com. Russia sends S-400 systems and troops to bolster Iran's defense. Now, this is from 4 days ago. And last week, you had a Hamas leader, all right, get put to death. And it's speculated that it was Iran. And they went crazy over there in Tehran, man. They had rallies and everything saying DTA. That's why the apostle elders say don't say DTA anymore, all right? Now, continuing on, it says, although Russia is facing a shortage of air defense systems for its own use for the war in the Ukraine, which I'm going to get into, it has decided to support Iran. According to media reports, Moscow sent Tehran valuable S-400 systems and Russian soldiers to operate the equipment. So that's what's going on right now, man. All right, wars and rumors of wars, conflicts. All right. Meanwhile, the greater majority of our people are getting ready for football season, preseason, college football, the return of the NBA, and war is on the horizon. The Ukrainian Portal Defense Express reminds us that Russian Security Council Secretary Sergei Shoigu visited Iran on Monday, August 5th. He met with President Mossad Pezeshkian, among others. During the meeting, the main topic of discussion was the expansion of bilateral partnership for global security and peace. Well, what does 1 Thessalonians 5 and 1 say? Let's get that right quick. The Russians also called Iran one of the key and strategic allies in the region. Well, that links up with Ezekiel the 38th chapter. Now, what does it say about peace and safety in the Bible? 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Those you brothers and sisters listen to know how, you know what time it is. Continuing on, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So they're saying peace and safety, and war is on the horizon. All right? And war has to happen in order for us to be set up in the kingdom. In order for us to be, this is all the Lord's plan. In order for us to be immortal, Lord willing, all right, and to happily live after, all right, as they say, war has to come. Esau's end of an age has to come. So this has to happen. So let's go to Ezekiel 38. Ezekiel 38 from the top. Ezekiel 38 and verses 1. And the word of the Lord's name is Yahweh, came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against them. Now, when you look on a map, I got a lot of maps, so just bear with me. Got a lot of maps on here. Now, as you can see on an ancient map, you got Magog, which is Russia. So Gog and Magog was known today as modern-day Russia. Now, we know that Esau has the blessing of the sword, and before Edomites were in his land, Japhites were in his land, but they got pushed out by Esau because he has the blessing of the sword. So Gog and Magog refers to Russia. And then Meshech, you have to take the meat from the bones, all right? Meshech and Tubal are not in Turkey. Although Gomer and Togomar is talking about Turkey in the Bible, Meshech and Tubal is referring to two cities in Russia. And I'm going to point that out. I had it queued up. Spare me for a sec. Yeah, I had it on a map. Now, as you can see, this is Moscow, all right, here in Russia. And then where this little sign is right here, this little flag, that's where Tobolsk, Russia is at. So Meshech, all right, equivalates to Moscow, and Tubal equivalates to Tobolsk, a city in Siberia, Russia, all right? You know, back during the period of Joseph Stalin, from 1924 to 1953, they were sending traders of the USSR over into Siberia to work in these gulags in these brutal conditions. And as you can see, it's a great distance between Moscow and Tobolsk. So that's talking about the inhabitants of the land, the people that's in the land right now, because prophecy is to say before or tell before. So the people that's in the land right now are Edomites, the Russians. Okay, Vladimir Putin, Sergei Lavrov, all right, the former USSR, which is known as the Russian Federation, that came into power in 1991 under Boris Yeltsin. All right, those are talking about the Russians. All right, so it says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against them. So we're supposed to prophesy against the Russians, all right, those Edomites over there in the land of Gog and Magog, all right, and say, Thus saith the Lord power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. And you can go into Ezekiel, the 39th chapter, and basically it talks about the downfall of Gog and Magog, aka Russia. So what the hell is this guy Hassad and Deacon Akah talking about? This is Ezekiel 38 verse 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. That's going back into that old USSR spirit. Now I got it queued up. The Soviet Union. Just real quick. The Soviet Union. The Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, USSR, commonly known as the Soviet Union, was a transcontinental country that spanned most of Eurasia from 1922 to 1991. That's 69 years. It was the largest country in the world by area, extending across 11 time zones and sharing land borders with 12 countries. An overall successor rate to the Russian Empire, the country was normally organized as a federal union of 15 national republics, the largest and most populous of which was the Russian SFSR. In practice, both its government and its economy were highly centralized until its final years. It was the world's third most populous country and Europe's most populous country. as a one-party state government by the Russian Communist Party of the Soviet Union. It was a flagship communist state. Its capital as well as its largest city was Moscow. Other highly urbanized centers include Leningrad, Kiev, which is part of Ukraine because Ukraine did belong to the USSR. It says Tashkent, Baku, Kharkov, and Minsk. Now, a lot of people might be talking about this war in Ukraine, Vladimir Putin, this and that. Of course, he's a devil, all right? He's an Edomite. But when you go back and do the history, I'm going to get this article right quick. Now, let me just bring this out. Now, you got these Americans. They don't know what the hell is going on with this war in Ukraine. Now, this is from February 18, 2022. The West promised not to expand NATO. NATO deceived Russia, Gog and Magog, about expansion, and a British document proves it, top German weekly discovers. A newly discovered document from March 1991 shows the United States, United Kingdom, French, and German officials discussing a pledge made to Moscow that the North Atlantic Treaty Organization will not expand to Poland and beyond. So they would not interfere with east of Poland. And what's east of Poland when you look on a map? Let me get this right quick. Let me get that new map. Bear with me for a sec. I had it here somewhere. All right, here we go. So here's Poland in Eastern Europe. NATO promised Russia that they would not interfere with anything east of Poland. Now, what's east of Poland? The Ukraine. Kiev is the capital. So Russia is rightfully fighting for what was theirs. All right, Belarus. There's a lot of strong ties between Russia and Belarus right now. They had Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. They had Georgia, Azerbaijan, all the stands, all the Kazakhstans, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, all the stands and jans. So Esau was really reneging on his own people. Let's get a precept right quick. This is Psalms. Bear with me for a quick. Bear with me right quick, excuse me. I'm a little excited. Psalms chapter 55. Psalms chapter 55 and verses 20. Psalms 55 and verses 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. All right. Now, hey, that first and foremost, hey, that goes into Esau going against them treaties that he made with the North American Indians from the tribe of Gad. But hey, he went back on certain treaties with Russian Edomites. All right. Psalms 55 and 21. The words of his mouth are smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And that's how Esau even gets down with his own people. They even did these Russian Edomites wrong as well as far as the legislation. So you really can't trust this devil. All right. So this whole war in Ukraine is Russia fighting for rightfully which is theirs, which is the Ukraine. And that goes back into Ezekiel 38 and verse 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. Going back into that old USSR spirit, 1922 to 1991 spirit. All right. They're not talking to the United States. They don't want nothing to do with the United States. All they're thinking about is thinking an evil thought, like it says in the scriptures, man. All right. So Russia is rightfully fighting for what's theirs, which is the Ukraine. See, these Americans, they don't know no better, man. All right. And furthermore, a lot of these Ukrainians that's over here, they're sleeper cell members, man. All right. You be thinking, oh yeah, we need to fight for Ukraine, but you got a guy that's next door in these suburban areas, and he's just waiting on a call for him to get down on you Americans, man. All right. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So let me just show a map right quick of the former USSR. Now, this is Russia right here, number one, and these are all the other 14 countries that used to be part of the USSR. Like I said, all the stands. All right, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan. Hey, I heard there's a lot of good, man, there's a lot of good-looking women in Kazakhstan. Straight up. Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan. Bear me for a sec. So all the stands. This used to be part of the USSR, 1922 to 1969, starting with Vladimir Lenin, and then the last leader of the USSR is Mikhail Gorbachev. All right, so this is what Russia had back in the day. All right, and that's the fulfillment of Ezekiel the 38th chapter, and they're fighting for what? What is the Ukraine on this map? They're fighting for number 6, Ukraine. All right, then you already got Belarus. All right, there's a lot of strong tensions between Belarus and Russia right about now. All right, so going back to Ezekiel the 38th chapter. So the Most High's words are not going out void. Verse 4, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. That's going to artillery that's used to fight in war. All right. Now let's get an example of that. The I had it on S400, but let's go to S400 first. Now, as we mentioned in this article, Russia sends S400 systems and troops to bolster Iran's defense. Now let's get this, S400. S400. The S400 Triumph, NATO reporting name, previously known as the S300 PMU/3, is a mobile surface-to-air missile system developed in the 1990s by Russia's MPO Almaz as an upgrade to the S300 family of missiles. So they upgraded 300 to 400. The S400 was approved for service on April 28, 2007, and the 1st Battalion of the systems assumed combat duty on August 6, 2007. The system is complemented by a successor, the S500. So you went from 300 to 400 to 500. This is S500. S500 Prometheus, also known as 55R6M, is a Russian surface-to-air missile anti-ballistic missile system supplementing the S400 and the A235 ABM missile system. The S500 was developed by Almaz Anti-Air Defense Concern, initially planned to be in production by 2014, 10 years later. All right, this is 2024. The first unit entered into service in 2021 with the 15th Aerospace Army. Russia claims that the S-500 is capable of intercepting all types of modern hypersonic weapons, aka Babylon the Great America, and has claimed to have successfully tested such capability. And they're not playing. Master P, aka Vladimir Putin, is not playing. All right? Russia is reportedly planning to deploy the S-500 along the planned S-550 missile system as part of their air defense network. So, going back to Ezekiel the 38th chapter, Ezekiel 38 and verse 4. And I will turn thee back into that old USSR spirit. They're even fighting for Ukraine right now, which is basically theirs, because NATO promised they wouldn't interfere with anything east of Poland. They lied to those Russians, and hey, Vladimir Putin is rightfully defending what is his. All right, You won't find that in the American your local 6 o'clock news or ABC News or even Fox News. You won't find that. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, that's Iran. Going back to this article. Now let me show you on this map. Persia is Iran. Okay? Those ancient Persians are Iranians. Alright? They're linking up with Gog and Magog. They're even getting missile defense systems, S-400s, possibly S-500s from Magog. Alright? And I got an article right quick. Let's just get this right quick. I might not get all of them, but then again I will. Now we had, I had these articles up. Let me go to, bear with me for a sec. All right, Iran and Russian relations, linking up with Isaiah the 34th chapter. Relations between the Grand Duchy of Moscow and the Persian Empire, Iran, officially commenced in 1521 with the Safavids in power. Past and present contact between Russia and Iran have long been complicatedly multifaceted, often wavering between collaboration and rivalry. So they've gotten along at times, and they've been at odds with each other. The two nations have a long history of geographic, economic, and social political interaction. Mutual relations have often been turbulent and dormant at other times. Until 1720, on the surface, relations between Iran and Russia were largely friendly, and the two operated on a level of equity. After 1720, with Peter the Great's attack on Iran, the establishment of the Russian Empire, the first of a long series of campaigns was initiated against Iran in the Caucasus, Georgia, Russia. All right, there's a country called Russia, and it's basically on the border of Russia, which was part of the USSR. The Russian Empire had an oppressive role in Iran during the 19th and 20th centuries, which harmed Iran's development, and during most of the ensuing Soviet period, the shadow of the big northern neighbor, Russia, continued to impend. Since the fall of the Soviet Union, the two nations have generally enjoyed very close, cordial relations. And as you can see in the picture, Vladimir Putin right here, aka Master P, and Ali Khamenei during a visit to Tehran on the September 7, 2018. So that's your relations right there. That links back with Ezekiel 38 and verse 4. It says Persia, which is Iran. Ethiopia. Let's go to Ethiopia right quick. Ethiopia and Russia entered diplomatic relations on April 21st, 1943. That was during the time of Joseph Stalin. Russia currently has an embassy in Addis Ababa. That's in Ethiopia. And Ethiopia has an embassy in Moscow. The Ethiopian ambassador to Russia is also accredited to Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Moldova, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, and Uzbekistan. And all these countries were formerly part of the USSR. Okay? Let's go back. Ezekiel 38 and verse 5. In Libya. All right, let's get this. Libya and Russia relations. Libya and Russia relations are the bilateral relations between the state of Libya and the Russian Federation. And the Russian Federation came into existence in 1991 after the disbandment of the USSR. All right, and I believe Boris Yeltsin was the first president of the Russian Federation. Russia has an embassy in Tripoli. Tripoli is in Libya, with Libya having an embassy in Moscow. Diplomatic contact between Russia and Libya has generally been close and productive, seeing as both countries have had and continue to see volatile relations with the United States. So they have something in common. They don't like the United States. Former Libyan leader Muammar al-Gaddafi was a close ally of the Soviet Union despite his country's membership in the non-aligned movement. So we all know what happened with Gaddafi. He tried to basically go on the gold standard, and the United States wasn't having that. They bombed the shit, excuse my Brazilian Portuguese, they bombed the shit out of Libya. Now Libya is looking like what Ukraine is looking like right now, a war-torn country. Libya was looking really good when Muammar Gaddafi was in power. He got put to death, and the United States and its allies, man, they weren't having that. All right, these elite banking families aren't having these other countries backing their money by gold, man. They want that petrodollar. All right, so you can see Libya and Russian relations are tight. Ezekiel 38 and verses 5 again. Persia, Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Torgamar of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Now, you look on this map, Gomer is Turkey. Okay, you got to take the meat from the bones. Gomer is Turkey. Torgamar represents Turkey as well. This is modern day Turkey right here. All right. So, let's go into the relations between Turkey and Russia. Russia and Turkey are the bilateral relations between Russia and Turkey and their antecedent states. Relations between the two are rather cyclical. From the late 16th until the early 20th centuries, relations between the Ottoman and those Ottoman Turks or Edomites and Russian empires were normally adverse and hostile because Esau's always been divided, man. Okay? You can read Matthew 12, I believe 25 and 26. Esau has always been divided. When you go back to the time of the Greeks, even the four generals, and you go back to the Diadochi Wars, they were always divided. Even today's time period, these elite banking families, they're divided as well. But they have one common cause, which is to destroy the nation of Israel, which they'll fail miserably at, right? In these latter times coming up. Because the Lord is putting a spirit on Esau to get rid of Esau. This is beautiful, man. He's using those Temanites, the so-called Germans, to come up with these intercontinental ballistic missiles. All right. At first, it was nuclear bombs, the Tsar bomb. Now it's this intercontinental ballistic missiles. It says from the late 16th until the early 20th centuries, relations between Ottoman and Russians empires were normally adverse and hostile, and the two powers were engaged in numerous Russo-Turkish wars, including one of the longest wars in modern history. Russia attempted to extend its influence in the Balkans and gain control of the Bosphorus at the expense of the weakening Ottoman Empire. As a result, the diplomatic history between the two powers was extremely bitter and acrimonious up to World War I. However, in the early 1920s, as a result of the Bolshevik Russian government assistance to Turkish revolutionaries during the Turkish War of Independence, the government relations warmed. So they started warming up to each other. Relations again turned sour at the end of World War II as the Soviet government laid territorial claims and demanded other concessions from Turkey. Turkey joined NATO in 1952 and placed itself within the Western Alliance against the Warsaw Pact during the Cold War, when relations between the two countries were at their lowest point. Relations began to improve the following year when the Soviet Union renounced its territorial claims after the death of Stalin. So after the death of Stalin in 1954, all right, they started getting a little bit more tighter. And as you can see, you got Erdogan, all right, Erdogan on the left, Vladimir Putin on the right. They're tight right now. And then Erdogan, he's had a lot to say since this genocide in Gaza that happened on October 7th of 2023 last year, he's strongly been denouncing the state of Israel. They're part of NATO. They have something to do with NATO. Matter of fact, Erdogan was one of the last members of the NATO to let Sweden into the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. All right, so hey, it says Turkey joined NATO in 1952. All right, but the scriptures, man, they're faithful and true. They're not void. All right, Gomer and all his bands, the house, the Togomar of the North Quarters, and all his bands and many people with thee. So Gomer, aka Turkey, is really going to be against America in these last coming days, man. They're going to get the hell away from NATO and link up with the big homie Gog and Magog, aka Russia. Okay, verse 7, last precept. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company. All right, Russia, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, all its allies, even parts of the former USSR, they're going to link up. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all that company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou guards unto them. So Russia is basically like the big homie, the big brother on the block, looking out for these different countries: Iran, Ethiopia, Libya, and Gomer. So, hey, Lord willing, that was edifying. We're starting to see more tensions come up, and we just got to wait for prophecy to be fulfilled. So this was part of a class that I did yesterday on August 11th, and I just wanted to put it on wax. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.